You're over 60. You still masturbate, maybe to relax, maybe to sleep, but lately something feels off. You wake up tired, you pee more often, your erections weaker, and that quiet thought keeps creeping in. Is this hurting my prostate? They've told you that frequent ejaculation is good for your prostate, clears things out, keeps it healthy. But no one told you that those studies, they were based on younger men with younger bodies, not yours. Now your PSA is rising, your sleep is broken, and somehow the habit that used to bring relief just leaves you feeling worse. What if no one ever warned you? Because they didn't know how things change after 60. Before you do it again tonight, give me a few minutes. You might discover the missing link between your nightly habit and the problems you're too tired to keep ignoring. And if this feels familiar, just type a 1 in the comments, no need to explain. And don't forget to subscribe because the answers we're about to uncover. No one else is saying them out loud. Let's get into it. Here's the part. No one ever explained the advice that ejaculation protects your prostate was never really meant for men your age. You've probably heard it for years, maybe even from your doctor, that the more you ejaculate, the lower your risk of prostate cancer. And yes, there's one particular study that gets quoted over and over again, the 2016 Harvard study. You might have seen it in articles or heard someone say 21 times a month keeps the cancer away. But here's the part nobody mentions out loud: that study was observational. It didn't prove cause and effect. It simply noticed a pattern in younger men, most of them under 50. And from there, the idea took off without anyone stopping to ask what happens when you're 60, 70, 75. Because you are not the same man you were at 45. Not hormonally, not physically, not neurologically. At 30, testosterone is abundant. Blood flow is strong. Your pelvic muscles contract efficiently. Your prostate is supple and responsive. So, yes, regular ejaculation in that phase of life might help flesh out the gland. But at 65, it's a different story. Your testosterone is lower. Circulation slows, especially if you sit a lot, which most older men do. The smooth muscle fibers that once squeezed the gland clean now respond more sluggishly. And when you keep stimulating your prostate day after day with incomplete contraction, shallow breathing, low hydration, and no time for recovery, you're not clearing it out, you're congesting it. And no, that's not just a theory. It's a real condition of congestive prostatitis. It's been documented in studies from the Mayo Clinic and detailed in research indexed by the NCBI. It's when the prostate becomes swollen, irritated, and inflamed, not because of bacteria, but because of stagnant fluid pressure and overuse. Most men have never heard of it, yet many suffer quietly from its symptoms. Pelvic discomfort, a feeling of fullness after urinating weak stream, waking up multiple times at night, a dull ache after orgasm. And here's the most overlooked part: frequent masturbation in older men, especially without full body movement or postural support, can make it worse, not better. Imagine this: you're sitting for hours, then suddenly stimulating your most sensitive pelvic structures, contracting tired muscles, flooding the system with stimulation, and expecting it to function like it did 30 years ago. It's not a relief you're giving your body, it's work. And with age, your system isn't bouncing back the way it used to. And then comes the PSA spike. The lab test comes back slightly elevated, and suddenly you're in panic mode. But no one told you that low-grade inflammation and prostate congestion caused by overstimulation and poor drainage can raise PSA even in the absence of cancer. It's not that ejaculation is inherently harmful. It's that after a certain age, the way you do it matters. The timing, the frequency, the condition of your circulation, your hydration, your posture, even your mental state. But if all you've been told is ejaculation equals prevention, you'll never consider that your nightly habit could be quietly sabotaging your progress, that you could be chasing comfort while feeding the very problem you're trying to avoid. And that's why you're here, because deep down you've noticed the signs. Something doesn't feel right. And now, maybe for the first time, you're seeing the full picture. Ejaculation isn't the enemy, but the blind repetition of it without adapting to the reality of your aging body is. So, no, you don't need to stop entirely, but you do need to understand what your prostate is actually asking for. And right now, it's not more stimulation. It's better care, better blood flow, and less congestion. You see, in your 30s, masturbation could feel like a healthy release of a simple flush of the system. And for many years, it probably was. But after 60, that valve doesn't open and close the way it used to. Your prostate doesn't function like it did. and neither do the muscles surrounding it. We need to talk about the deeper mechanics here, not to overwhelm you with biology, but because understanding what's going on beneath the surface can change everything about how you approach your own body. The prostate isn't just some gland that produces fluid, it's a sensitive hormone driven organ that relies on the coordination of smooth muscles, blood flow, and pelvic muscle contractions to fully empty during ejaculation. It's a system, and with age, that system weakens. The muscles around the base of your pelvis, known as the pelvic floor, often become tight, overworked, or underactive. They no longer contract with full force. Your testosterone, the hormone that drives not just libido, but also tissue strength and recovery, has likely dropped 30–50% from your younger years. That means weaker contractions, slower recovery, and a higher chance that fluid remains behind. And what happens when that fluid lingers? Congestion, inflammation, irritation, not immediate pain, but a slow, subtle buildup that starts to interfere with urination, sleep, and sexual response. So when you're masturbating several times a week, maybe even daily, and your body no longer has the muscular efficiency to fully clear out that fluid, you're not relieving pressure. You're building it up quietly, repeatedly, without knowing it. And over time, that leads to a chronic condition few men ever hear about, congestive prostatitis. Most guys don't recognize it at first. They just notice that their lower pelvis feels a bit heavy. Maybe they feel a dull ache after sitting too long. They get up more at night. The stream gets weaker. And then after masturbating, they feel fatigued and not relaxed. But they chalk it up to age or assume it's normal. It isn't. That feeling of fullness or discomfort in the perineum, that slight burning or urgency when you pee, that nagging ache that won't go away, could all be your prostate screaming for relief from repeated congestion. And the culprit might not be disease or even diet. It might be what you've been doing alone in the dark for decades, assuming it was helping you stay healthy. There's more. A study published in the Journal of Urology in 2019 found that men over 60 who engaged in high frequency masturbation, especially with poor posture and little movement, had higher rates of non-bacterial prostatitis symptoms. Why? Because repeated stimulation without proper muscle engagement creates physical strain and poor drainage. Add to that the chronic pelvic tension from stress or sitting, and you've got a formula for long-term discomfort masquerading as normal aging. It's not your fault. It's what you were never told, and the effects don't stop there. You may think it's just about urination or pelvic pressure, but the real damage starts when this habit meant to bring relief begins stealing your desire for real intimacy, because the more often you stimulate your brain with artificial reward, the faster, more intense the kind triggered by porn or compulsive masturbation, the less sensitive you become to normal sexual cues. It's a dopamine effect. Your brain adapts. The reward becomes harder to reach. Real-life intimacy begins to feel dull by comparison. And that creates a dangerous loop. You want the same satisfaction, but now you need more intensity to get there. You masturbate longer, you seek more extreme stimulation. But when it's time to connect with a partner, your arousal doesn't respond. Your body hesitates, your mind is distracted. The result: performance anxiety, shame, avoidance, and a growing distance from the very thing that makes sex truly fulfilling human connection. This isn't just psychological, it's hormonal. Excessive dopamine spikes through frequent compulsive masturbation, can desensitize the brain's reward system. At the same time, your HPG axis, the critical hormonal loop between your hypothalamus, pituitary, and gonads, starts to misfire. It gets confusing. Testosterone production slows even further. And when testosterone drops below critical thresholds, everything from libido to energy, muscle mass to mood starts to suffer. You become not just tired, but numb. So you try again, hoping for that spark. You stimulate, you chase. But instead of feeling satisfied, you end up depleted. And if no one explains what's happening, you keep doing it, wondering why it's not working like it used to. This is how good men, strong men, end up in cycles of frustration and silence. It's not a weakness. It's not age alone. It's a system that's been overstimulated, misunderstood, and ignored for far too long. And just when you think it's only affecting your performance or mood, it creeps into something even more essential: your sleep, your heart, and your hormone health. Because what most men don't realize is that Masturbation, especially done late at night, doesn't always calm your system down. For some men, especially over 60, it actually revs things up only to leave your body drained, restless, and hormonally off balance. By morning, you might be using it as a sleep aid, hoping it'll help you doze off, and sometimes it does. But here's what's happening under the surface after ejaculation: your dopamine crashes while prolactin rises. That shift can create a temporary sense of fatigue, but it doesn't guarantee restorative sleep. In fact, if your nervous system is already stressed and your pelvic floor muscles are tight, your body might not fully relax at all. You may fall asleep quickly, but then wake up multiple times throughout the night, tossing, turning with your bladder, screaming for release, or your brain's stuck in alert mode. Poor sleep doesn't just make you tired, it disrupts your testosterone production, which mostly happens during deep sleep stages. So, when your rest is fragmented, your testosterone suffers. And when testosterone falls further, your recovery slows, your energy dips, and your sexual function continues to spiral. Over time, this becomes a dangerous loop: stimulation without recovery, climax without rest, desire without satisfaction. And your body pays the price not just in the bedroom, but across your entire cardiovascular and endocrine systems. It's no coincidence that men with chronic sleep disruption also face higher risks of heart disease, insulin resistance, and low libido. The body isn't meant to be teased into exhaustion every night. It's meant to cycle through rhythm, restoration, and balance. And if you're using masturbation as a crutch to unwind, while ignoring what it's really costing your hormones, you may be trading one form of relief for a far deeper imbalance. Now, does this mean you should feel guilty or ashamed? Not at all. But it does mean it's time to take an honest look at the habit itself, because what started as a way to cope or relax might have become something else, a pattern that's now slowly eroding the very parts of your health you're trying to protect. And that brings us to the most important realization: the difference between healthy release and harmful repetition. Because not all masturbation is bad, not all self pleasure is damaging. But there is a line, and the truth is, most men don't know when they've crossed it. So, how do you know? You start by listening. If you feel tense, agitated, or irritable when you can't do it, if your body doesn't feel satisfied afterward, but instead feels sore, tired, or numb, if you find yourself needing more extreme stimulation just to get there, those are signs. If you always need a screen to feel aroused, or if physical connection with a real person feels less rewarding, that's another. If the habit brings relief for a few minutes but regret or fatigue for hours, then it's no longer a form of self care. It's a form of self neglect. This doesn't mean quitting, it means recalibrating, reconnecting to what your body actually needs: circulation, movement, real intimacy, true rest, not constant stimulation. Because the truth is, your prostate doesn't need more friction, it needs more attention, more support, less pressure. It needs you to stop thinking like you're 30 and start caring like you're 60, with wisdom, with clarity, and with courage to change. Because when you make that shift, when you choose to listen instead of repeat, that's when real healing begins. So now you understand what's really happening. The nightly habit that once gave relief is now quietly working against you. But here's the good news: you're not stuck. There are simple, practical, and powerful ways to protect your prostate, support your hormones, and still feel grounded in your body. You just have to make a few intelligent shifts. Let's talk about what that looks like, starting with the one muscle group most men never think about but should. Start with your pelvic floor. These are the muscles that contract during ejaculation, help empty the bladder, and support your prostate. And after 60, they're often weak, tight, or misfiring altogether. That's why the first thing I recommend is learning to engage them properly with a focused Kegel routine. No, not the squeeze and hold for a minute stuff you read online. I'm talking about short, deliberate contractions, 5 seconds on, 5 seconds off. Do this for just 5 minutes each morning. You're not trying to build bulk, you're trying to restore rhythm. Within 2 to 3 weeks, most men notice better bladder control, less pressure in the perineum, and even stronger orgasms. It's not magic, it's mechanics, and it works. But there's more you can do to support blood flow and reduce congestion without even touching your genitals. One of the most underrated tools: perineal massage. This is gentle, targeted pressure around the base of the pelvic floor, between the anus and scrotum, using your fingers or a soft ball. You can do it in the shower while seated or lying on your back with knees bent. Just a few minutes of this increases circulation, softens tight fascia, and helps your body drain trapped fluid in the prostate area. It's not about arousal, it's about relief. Think of it as self care for the muscle system nobody talks about. And once you try it, you'll wonder why no one taught you sooner. Now, add to that one of the oldest healing tools known to man heat, specifically a warm bath or a heat pad focused on your lower abdomen and pelvic area. When you sit in warm water, blood vessels dilate, muscles relax, inflammation drops. If you've been sitting for hours or you feel tension in your pelvic floor, this simple routine can reset your system. 10 to 15 minutes before bed is ideal. It not only soothes your body, but primes your nervous system for better sleep. And the best part, it costs nothing but your time and attention. Of course, none of this works if you keep overstimulating your body every day. That's why I always tell my patients after 60, frequency matters. If you're masturbating every day, even out of boredom, it's time to pause. Try limiting it to once or twice a week at most. And when you do, don't rush, avoid screens, stay connected to your body. Make it about connection, not escape, not. When paired with rest, light movement, and nourishing meals, occasional self pleasure can still be part of a healthy routine. But it has to serve your body, not drain it. Speaking of nourishment, your diet is your quiet medicine. Certain foods have powerful anti inflammatory effects on the prostate. One of my top recommendations, pomegranate juice. Rich in polyphenols, it supports blood flow and reduces oxidative stress. Add in steamed broccoli, not raw, not overcooked, and you get sulforaphane, a compound shown to lower prostate inflammation and even support hormone balance. And don't forget green tea. Just 1 cup a day delivers catechins that aid detoxification and may help regulate DHT, the hormone that contributes to prostate growth. These aren't fads. They're tools backed by science built into nature, ready for your routine. But the most powerful shift you can make has nothing to do with muscles or food. It's reconnecting with real intimacy. I've seen it countless times. Men who replace porn with presence, who step back from compulsive habits and step forward into conversation, trust, and connection. Whether it's with a partner or even just yourself, in a more conscious, mindful way, this change transforms everything. Because when intimacy is about closeness, not just climax, when touch is about warmth, not escape, the body responds differently. You're no longer trying to fix yourself, you're learning to feel again. So don't worry about what you've done in the past. That chapter brought you here. What matters now is how you move forward with knowledge, with care, and with practices that actually serve your body, your health, and your peace of mind. You don't need to give up pleasure. You just need to give your prostate a better way to receive it. So now you know what no one ever told you, that after 60, your body changes, your prostate changes, and the habits that once felt harmless can slowly work against you if you're not paying attention. But knowledge is power. And if you've made it this far, that means you're not afraid to look deeper, ask tougher questions, and take responsibility for the most intimate parts of your health. That, my friend, is the beginning of real strength. What you do with this information, that's up to you. But let this be a new chapter, not a wake-up call you ignore. Because you don't have to keep feeling drained, restless, disconnected. You don't have to guess whether your nightly routine is helping or hurting. You now have the tools, the awareness, and the permission to care for yourself in a way that honors where you are in life, not where you used to be. Remember, this isn't about giving up pleasure. It's about reclaiming it with clarity, with balance, with intention. And when you do that, you don't just protect your prostate, you protect your energy, your intimacy, your peace of mind. You give your body what it's truly asking for, relief that heals, not just relief that distracts. So take a breath, take a pause, and take action. Starting tonight, not by doing more, but by doing what actually serves you. How did today's content resonate with you? Did anything make you reflect more deeply on how you care for your health? Feel free to share your age, your year of birth, and where you're watching from. We truly value getting to know our viewers better, so we can continue bringing you meaningful insights and practical tools to support your well-being every day. And if you found today's message helpful, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on the kind of content that helps you live healthier, longer, one day at a time. Take care of yourself, you deserve it.